Sometimes it just is what it is. If you have been around my social media for even 5 minutes, you know that I have opted for a very soft, very intentional life. Now, I have by no means perfected this life. Like, I am not being fed grapes on a chaise lounge while someone fans me. It's not that kind of soft life, although that does sound divine. I have, however, somewhat mastered appreciating the little things, calculating my life in such a way where I get to enjoy things that I love, like travel, a lot of leisure, some of the finer things in life that at one point in my life I never believed that I would even be able to indulge in. I have seen places, I have eaten food, I have had experiences that I never thought I would have in my wildest dreams. And it's all because I decided to live a very intentional life. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But I do focus on doing things that give me great pleasure, that make me happy, that make me feel alive. Most importantly, I choose to live a life that is more thought out, planned out as much as possible, and not forced. A very intentional life. If you look around the interwebs, you will start to see, if you haven't already, the concept of soft living popping up, especially amongst women of color. A lot of us have decided that we just don't want to be the strong Black woman anymore. A lot of us have decided that we don't want to hustle. We have given up the idea of forcing things in order to make them work or to make them come to fruition. A lot of women have discarded the concept of hustle culture because for many women, they found themselves either sick and sometimes in an early grave. The last thing I want to be remembered for is how hard I worked. I'd much rather be remembered for the creativity that I contributed to the world. And I don't need to kill myself in order to do that. And no, this doesn't mean that we're anti-work. It just means that we're anti-make ourselves sick for our work. It means finding pleasure in little things, finding joy in our lives instead of always waiting to do the next task. It means looking inward, being introspective, and really finding our best self. It means creating spaces in our homes that bring us joy, that make us feel cozy, and that make us feel safe and peaceful. It means finding inspiration in expected and unexpected places. It means looking for the calm, the peace, the joy that can be found in everyday, seemingly mundane situations, like thumbing through a magazine, or listening to music, or having a cup of tea, or staring out a window on a rainy day. There's so much joy and peace, calmness, clarity that can be found in these seemingly simple situations. Another aspect of soft living, soft intentional living, is really capitalizing on femininity. And this is not a concept that is always accepted or looked upon favorably. Being feminine in the past has somehow been equated with being weak, being a victim, being passive. It's none of those things. If anything, living in your feminine energy is more about being calculated, not in a mean, manipulative way, but in a way that creates space for a woman to live the life of her dreams. Meaning that while you're maybe very meek, meaning that while you're maybe very genteel and demure, you're not a doormat. You can't be walked all over because, above all else, you're extremely intelligent. The idea that a woman who lives in her feminine energy and who thrives from her feminine energy is somehow weak or passive or somehow not as strong or independent is actually a myth. Women who choose to be taken care of choose to be taken care of. They're often not forced. But it is a common belief that a woman who chooses to be, quote unquote, dependent upon her partner has somehow boxed herself into a situation that she can never recover from or get away from. But in all actuality, these are typically the women who are the strength, who are the creative ideas, who are the gas that makes the car go. They are the inspirations that their partners need. It doesn't make them any less. It just makes them very thoughtful. Some of us don't want to be like the men. Some of us don't want to be strong all of the time. Some of us want to be damsels, not in distress though, but rather we're damsels in decisiveness, damsels in our divine energy. And if we're really on our manifestation game, damsels in Dior, because why not? Again, it doesn't mean that we don't work. It doesn't mean we don't make money. It doesn't mean that we don't have something to quote unquote bring to the table, the worst saying ever. But it also means that we are open to doing things like loving on our children and grandchildren, running our household, loving our partners and cultivating our relationships, and taking care of the things that tug at our heartstrings and that matter the most to us. This will not look the same for every woman. It should not look the same for every woman. And the choice to live softly should never be frowned upon. Ultimately, we should all give ourselves permission to do and be whatever it is that we choose to do and be. And well, you already know, I choose to be soft.